right, let's talk about the impacts of technology, specifically pertaining to the wearable fitness tracker. In terms of a brief history of the technology, you'd have to get into something like step trackers first, or pedometers is another word for that. And the earliest examples you can see of those, at least the earliest ones that I could find, are from like the 16th, 17th century. And those are just used for, very rudimentary measurements for farming and stuff. And then it isn't until like 1965 that you see something that's more akin to what you see in like the modern day, where it's more of a goal setting thing. And the intended purpose is a little bit different. It's more about fitness rather than like how many paces is it to from one end of my farm to the other. A good example of one of these early fitness trackers would be the 10,000 steps meter, which was from 1965 and invented by Dr. Yoshiro Hatano. He was pretty dead set on the notion that a daily step count of 10,000 steps would be beneficial for something like weight loss and combating obesity. In terms of the popularization of something like the wearable fitness tracker, I don't think you really see ubiquity with something like this until probably the early 2000s, like mid 2010s. And that would be with stuff like the Fitbit and the Apple Watch. As for impacts on habit, the habits of the individual's daily routine that will be using something like this, well, I really think it depends on the person. For some people, something like this will make a big difference. For other people, not so much. But in terms of the person where this is really having like an impact on their daily routine, then yeah, this can impact everything from like when you're waking up to going to sleep, your circadian rhythm, your heartbeat throughout the day, what kinds of health choices you're making in terms of trying to get better or trying to go in like a healthier direction. These modern fitness trackers can give you data on everything from your sleeping habits to your VO2 max, your average heart rates throughout the day, how many steps you took, how many more steps it is than maybe it was like last week or the day before. It can give you so many data points from your day that are fitness related or just like habit related. And if you really want to, you can take that and run with it and really like dial in your daily routine if you want to. So that's what I'd say in terms of how it can affect your habits. In terms of impacts on perceptions, impacts to your perception. Well, if you get something like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, and you're someone that likes to go for runs a lot, something like that, maybe you're gonna be putting a lot more stock into your runs now because you get so much data in terms of what was going on, what your pace was, how fast you were going, where you could have sped up, where your heart rate was. You have the liberty of being a lot more meticulous with activities that before you might have been a lot more go with the flow with, right? I'm just going for a run. Not really too concerned with what my average pace was or what my peak heart rate was, but that stuff is still super helpful. Just having that information and that data does, it changes the dynamic a little bit. In terms of how something like this relates to space and time, I think the best example you can look at for something like this is just how quickly or slowly a moment can pass depending on whether or not you are looking at the clock or not. When you occupy your mind with something else or focus on something different, the moment you're in appears to pass a lot faster because you're not thinking about the time or the passage of time. So that's something to think about when getting something like this. In terms of social relations, products, wearable fitness trackers usually have ways to facilitate things like competition or different activities you could do to strengthen your bond with your friends and have a good time. As for political boundaries, much like smartphones and other technologies, the minerals and materials that are used to produce these wearable fitness trackers are precious. They are limited in supply and used for just about anything that has a touch screen on it. Gold, different silicates, any kind of rare earth mineral you can imagine, all in very high demand for things like this. To conclude things, I believe the fitness tracker has been very beneficial in terms of how people can shape their daily habits and change their lives, especially in terms of the approaches it allows you to take to something like fitness and how you can track and see your progress in all your goals. that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching.